Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. The patch notes are out today. You can find a link to them in the description of this video, but if you'd rather get the news in video format, then you've come to the right place. The big surprises in store for this update were already revealed when Wargaming dropped the update trailer for the campaign reward ships several days ago, but there are still a couple of surprises in store. Let's begin with what we already know. The upcoming Element of Choice campaign offers players the opportunity to choose between two different campaign reward ships, premium Tier 7 destroyers Lo Yang and Friesland. If you'd like a preview of these ships, I did make a video that goes over their stats on the PC version World of Warships, but the TLDR is this. Lo Yang is a Benson-class destroyer with one less gun, improved concealment, and access to sonar. As the first Pan-Asian ship in the game, it will come with a new Pan-Asian commander, and that commander's base trait is called Gunslinger. It reduces the main battery reload time, and potentially it's useful as an inspiration for other gunboat destroyer builds. The other choice is, of course, Friesland, most likely the fastest firing gunboat on the high seas, but Friesland does not have torpedoes. If you think the lack of torpedoes makes Friesland sound like a bad ship, I invite you to search for some Friesland gameplay on PC, because it is not bad at all. Friesland will be my choice for this campaign, although assuming Wargaming lends me both ships to test, which I'm sure they will, I'll create views on both to help you guys make your decision. One thing that might influence that decision: Friesland is a pan-European destroyer. As of now, the only pan-European commander in the game is Swirsky, whose base trait decreases ship concealment. If you do not have Swirsky, then choosing the Friesland as your campaign reward will give you Swirsky as well. Considering the campaign is probably only going to cost the usual 2,500 doubloons, this is probably the cheapest and best way to obtain Swirsky for those of you who do not have him and want him. More on these ships to come on Monday, October 4th, when the patch goes live, of course. I have the day off from work, and I do plan to stream. Before we move on, note that it is possible to acquire both the Friesland and Lo Yang in the next update if you can't decide between the two, but you can only grind out the campaign for one ship. You'll have to buy the other one outright, and it will cost 17,500 doubloons. Personally, I think that's too steep a price. My advice is choose one ship and grind, but it is your money, so spend it wisely. Next up, we've got two new Halloween events. The first is a throwback to the very first Halloween event, where you had to escort the ship Transylvania to a portal and protect it from the boss battleship Rasputin and its minions. The second part will see us fighting Rasputin once again, but this time he's backed by the Gorgon, which apparently launches bats. I take it that the Gorgon is a spooky CV and the bats are aircraft. Sounds wonderful. The objective in that event involving the bats will be to defend magic towers. From what I recall, the first Halloween event back in the day was pretty fun. If the second one involves fighting an AI CV, I don't know. We'll see. Of course, there will be rewards for completing these events, and details on the prizes will be released soon on a Wargaming blog post. But I can tell you that the rewards will include a free Tier 4 Italian premium cruiser called Genova, Halloween-themed commanders, and unfortunately there don't seem to be any details on these commanders in the advanced version of the patch notes I'm reading from, and also Halloween-themed skins for Lexington, Shokaku, Bismarck, Tirpitz, Benson, Kagero, Chapayev, and Charles Martel. There will also be containers called Golden Pumpkins that you can buy for rewards, which include 1,250 doubloons guaranteed in every crate, unless you win the 100k doubloon super prize. Also, commander progression items, credits, camos, and store coupons. Finally, some Halloween-themed patches and flags will be available. The methods for obtaining these will be broadcast on Wargaming social media accounts from October 19th through October 31st. Moving away from the Halloween-themed stuff, we've got the alternative branch of Soviet destroyers coming out of early access. So if you manage to pick up the Kiev from a crate and grind it all the way through, you'll be able to pick up the Udaloy when the update drops. But there will be a new line of ships coming to early access as well. This time, an alternative line of Soviet heavy cruisers, beginning with the Kotovsky at Tier 4, Gorky at Tier 5, and Tallinn at Tier 6. The patch notes confirm that the Tier 7 cruiser in the new line, which as usual will not be obtainable via early access, is the Riga. So that ought to be exciting for some people. We will, of course, take a look at any new Soviet cruisers we manage to pull out of crates in our update stream on Monday. Speaking of cruisers, the patch notes say that one new premium ship is due for release, the Tier 6 German light cruiser Weimar, which has 12 150mm guns and sounds kind of like the München. If so, it'll probably be pretty good, and I'm looking forward to testing it out. Now, the last section of the patch notes covers quality of life improvements and balance changes. Here's what's in store for some quality of life improvements. We can now see ship loadouts, including loadouts for ships in the Bureau and the store, prior to buying them. Additionally, we can look at any alternative consumable choices that ships may have. This is, of course, wonderful if you want to know whether a premium ship comes with any particular consumable. Moving on, an entirely new sound engine is being added to the game that will include new gunnery sounds and different ship engine sounds, as well as new music and new miscellaneous sounds. Maybe this new sound engine will finally make certain battleships in the game sound more threatening. The final quality of life improvement is a change to the Missions tab, which will now show categories of missions on the campaign screen, a roadmap for each mission inside the corresponding tab, and, quote, more changes, end quote. Frankly, I really have no idea what this will look like from the description in the patch notes, but a more important change is that missions will no longer be segregated. That is, all missions will require ships from Tier 4 through Legendary Tier. Legendary Tier missions will no longer be separate mission cards, so this will offer a nice bit of freedom, and I really, really like that. On to the balance changes now. Azurlane Baltimore gets a 1-second decrease on its main battery reload time, but no increase to its high explosive or armor-piercing Alpha Strike. Hatsuharu gets a 1.5-second decrease on its main gun reload time. Hawkins gets a decrease to its reload as well. Montecuccoli gets a 5-second faster turret rotation speed. And all of the aircraft carriers, except the new premium Zuiho, get their sea detectability ranges increased. The Tier 7 CVs will now all have a surface detection of roughly 12 kilometers, putting them more in line with their counterparts on PC. Although the Parseval and Lexington both get their air detectability reduced a little. Nevertheless, it's definitely a welcome balance change for CVs that we've been asking for pretty much since CVs debuted. In order to provide some compensation for the nerfed CV concealment, the Dark Silhouette Commander skill, available on I think a lot of the CV commanders, will get a buff. This skill decreases the CV detectability. And there's one more CV balance change, a new mechanic, out of fuel. CV squadrons will have only 150 seconds of airtime after the CV has been sunk, so they won't be able to permanently spot for their team after dying. And that's pretty much it. There are a couple of other changes of note and some bug fixes. Other changes include a rework of the shards map, where the minimal time for enemy detection is increased, and I assume this means the spawns are being adjusted. The Oklahoma Bureau project is also going away, so if you haven't started it yet and you want to, then you need to start it before the update goes live so that you can complete it. Otherwise, it's gone. The bug fixes aren't all that interesting. Take a look at the overlay if you want to see them, but that's pretty much all I have for you. A pretty content-rich update is coming. Lots of new ships, certainly. And we'll have a lot to talk about in our Monday update stream. And we'll have more on all of this on that day. So I will see you then. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. And, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.